What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Aram for once again showing love with a donation to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, so got a question from Aram, and that was, who do I think is the greatest college basketball player of all time? And of course, you got different candidates out there. Uh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, who unfortunately we lost this year. You have, I would put up there, Oscar Robertson, Elvin Hayes, Ralph Sampson. Uh, I would say Christian Laettner is in that conversation. Um, More recent players, I don't really consider them in that GOAT category, namely because increasingly guys are not, they don't play enough time in college. They don't play enough in college to create a winning culture, to achieve enough prerequisite accomplishments, I think, to be in this conversation. Um, I know that there's some delusional fans who have people like Caitlin Clark and some others uh, calling them the greatest collegiate, at least the greatest collegiate female basketball players of all time. I don't know about that. That's not my forte, female college basketball. Although, if you ask me, Cheryl Miller is the greatest collegiate female basketball player of all time. Okay. Then you have some other people, but like I said, that's just based upon what the experts who really actually cared about uh, explaining the history of sports or explaining the history of college female basketball to the masses before it all became about clicks, likes, and views. Totally about that. Now, I know some people are like, well, aren't you trying to get attention by having a picture of Caitlin Clark? Well, yeah, to a certain extent, you got to play this game, or else people aren't going to look at your videos. There are going to be some people right now in the comment section, oh, look at them with a picture of Caitlin Clark. He's talking about everybody. But yeah, because you're a fanboy. And I find it interesting that most of the people on my channel, almost everybody who's a Caitlin Clark fan that cusses me out about not praising her enough, it's not women. It's not. It's not women. I can't recall more than one or two comments being from an actual woman. If they were a woman, it's men, and usually black men, who I suspect really are hating on Angel Reese because they don't like black women, but they just won't say it. I respect you more if you just come out and say it. But you hide behind all these other fake reasonings behind disliking Angel Reese. But all of that'll be revealed eventually. The greatest collegiate basketball player, that, in my opinion, is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I don't really think it's that much of an argument. I guess you could put Bill Walton in that conversation, and maybe Christian Laettner, Elvin Hayden. Well, really those three to me. But when you look at Kareem's accomplishments as a collegiate player, considering the fact that when he played, he couldn't play when he was a freshman in college. He couldn't play because of the rules. So he did what he did in 3 years. So in 3 years, he was a three-time NCAA champion, three-time NCAA Final Four most outstanding player, three times National College Player of the Year, three times consensus first-team All-American. His number 33 is also retired by the UCLA Bruins. And he was such a dominant player in college that the NCAA banned the dunk in an attempt to try to curtail his dominance, as a collegiate player. But it didn't work. because all it did was force him to utilize his skill set, and he perfected what is the most unstoppable shot in the history of college, which obviously was a skyhook. So he still was extremely dominant. In his collegiate career, 3 years, he averaged 26.4 points, 15.5 rebounds. Assists, steals, and blocks weren't measured when he played, but if I had to take a guess, he probably averaged around 3 assists. He probably averaged about 1 steal. He probably averaged around 4 to 5 blocks per game in college. If I had to take a guess, he shot 64% from the floor, 63% from the line, which he bettered by about 9 percentage points when he became a pro. He was truly a dominant force. And in his collegiate career, trying to see the total numbers, he scored 2,325 points. It would have been well over 3,000 points. He was able to play all 4 years. So, this guy was phenomenal. His most dominant season, statistically, was his first year in college when he averaged 29 points. But his shot attempts went down as I guess the team got even better. But he averaged 29 points his first year when he was a sophomore. 29 points, 15.5 rebounds, shot 67% from the floor, and 65% from the line. And it's not like he was just beating up on, bad competition. And one of the most, if not the most, anticipated games, at least up there with Bird and Magic, the game of the century. What was it, 1968, I believe it was? I think it's the game when Houston upset at UCLA and then their winning streak at the time. Uh, Elvin Hayes, who's in the conversation, probably at least a top 5 all-time collegiate player. Elvin Hayes himself. Let's see if I can pull up Elvin Hayes. Elvin Hayes in college averaged 31 points and 17.2 rebounds. Unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Just amazing what these guys were doing in college, man. And then these guys never come up in modern day conversations. And then you have Skip Bayless ridiculously say Michael Jordan is the greatest collegiate player of all time. Look, if you're talking about greatest basketball player in NBA history, Michael Jordan is definitely. I get why he's a consensus GOAT, or at least top 2, right? I think he should be top 2 with Kareem and, with Wilt. And by the way, I want to mention something. Well, you know what? I'll do a separate video about that. I'll do a separate video about that. But anyway, yeah, in my opinion, I think it's Kareem. You look at his production, you look at his impact, uh, his dominance, his influence. Also, I would say that he extended for over 20 years the dominance of the big man in basketball. I mean, because what Bill Russell and Wilt were doing in the pros was unprecedented. But then Kareem came in and he extended that dominance. And then you had other big men come in and were influenced by Kareem. And, while more and more perimeter players were going to the ABA, the NBA still maintained their dominance when it came to big man play, largely because of the example set by Kareem. You know what I'm saying? Kareem didn't take the money, even though NBA players were making more and more money, but he felt he helped to re-legitimize the NBA and his dominance in the '70s. Um, like I said before, you could say he re-legitimized the NBA because I sometimes wonder what would have happened if Kareem had decided to go to the ABA. At that time, the ABA still wasn't quite where it was like in 72, 73, 71 maybe. But what if they decided to go to the ABA? Would that have made the ABA a more impactful league, a more of a permanent fixture, a semi-permanent fixture? But anyway, we'll never know the answer to that. But yeah, I got to go with Kareem. I think Kareem is the greatest collegiate basketball player of all time. And then if I had to go with a number two, maybe Bill Walton. Um, then after that, it's debatable. I would say, like I said, Elvin Hayes, Oscar Robertson is in that conversation. Ralph Sampson, Christian Laettner. I know I'm forgetting some others. But those are the most dominant college basketball players that just come to mind when I think of college, men's college basketball at least. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.